Coming in, I'm going to show you what I did this morning. I used the wood graining tool on this morning and then went through and put a few lines in between to look like board separation points. So I think that turned out pretty good. This is the table that I'm ombreing with black Caviar from Dixie, Belle, and then I moved into, I think it's Gravel Road and Manatee Gray, and then I did the top and drop cloth and then went back with the Caviar to get this finished. And it's too much of a contrast from the bottom to the top for me. I wish I would have either went the other direction or something. But what I've decided to do is use Best Dang Wax and Grunge Gray. So here's what it looks like on the inside. This is a new one. And I'm just going to use this brush. I don't have my waxing brushes up here, but this is called the Belle. I don't know what you're supposed to do with it, but it feels like it's going to be a good waxing brush to me. And I'm going to put this on the top, which has been drying about an hour and a half or so, and then I'm going to use it on the bottom as well to hopefully blend some of that in. But right now what I'm wanting to do is keep the starkness of the drop cloth or the white, the amount of difference there is between that and the Caviar or the black from showing up, and just sort of model it a little bit. Not model, but model. I think this is going to be a very pretty technique, but I wanted to completely finish one of the tables. It is a 3-piece set, but I wanted to completely finish one as sort of a prototype before I did the other two. And I had intended on using some black wax with this, and I may come back when I'm doing the details and add a little bit of black in some of these detailed areas to bring it back up. But for now I wanted the Grunge Gray, and I have a big bucket of old t-shirts that have stains on them, and I cut the scratchy parts off of them and then just cut them into rags about this size, and those are my sort of buffing rags. That looks way much better. Okay, now I'm going to move this table up to the higher table that I have here on the other side, so you can see with the light shining on it more of the wax shine through. But I want to get that Grunge Gray through these edges to kind of tie in the top and the bottom and the ombre finish. I still think I should use a little bit of black wax through there. And I'm going to use one of these smaller flat brushes to kind of fill it in on the details. There we go. We have the details of the embellishments here, but there's also the corners next to the legs. Then there's like an indentation right here. Now I'm going to wipe off a little bit of this. Let me see if I can hold it up to make sure you can see it really good. See how I put the black all through there? Put the gray right over the black. That's going to soften that back up, but it's still going to leave the darker of the two in those crevices. There we go. There you go. See how that left the centerpiece down in those ridges darker, but still blended the gray in. Right here along this edge, see how that seam is a little bit darker? That's where I put the black wax on just a minute ago, and we'll soften that up around those edges, and that'll help it look a little more blended. Just kind of buff that all the way down that way and back up. And do the same thing here. These are like more of the straight edges. And that way I don't get too deep down in these crevices, and that allows the dark to stay down in there. Show a little bit better. I'm just using this small brush here for the black and putting it just in the seams and creases and the details. Then wiping it back some and coming back with the grunge gray to erase the excess and kind of tie it all back together. See, there's the Manatee gray, and even though this is obviously it's ombre, this portion isn't, and that's the difference of just putting the grunge gray wax in on the top. It, you know, it does deepen it just a little bit and enough to tie it all in together. So you can see where the darker of the ombre didn't blend as well through here, and I could have either came back with more paint and worked on the ombre and worked on the ombre and worked on the ombre, or you can still see the ombre here and I'm just doing it with wax, and that does make my life easier. So I'm going to go with more of the black on this little brush and just get in these seams in the corners. And if I left this black here for any length of time, that would cause a problem. Already see how it's coming up off of that a little bit. We're going to erase that with that gray in just a minute anyway. I don't know if you can see as much of the ombre on the legs and all that, and then the top part, but for trying a couple of new techniques on the same piece, I'm pretty pleased with how it came out. Take a picture of it, put it on Pinterest. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you joining me. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.